under the impression that the 49ers are going to win, just because of the Browns offense right now. They are going to be starting PJ Washington. PJ Walker, just kidding. I'll learn how to speak a different day. Um, but Deshaun Watson is out. Also, Nick Chubb is out, which was a vital piece of the Browns offense. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you think the pathway to victory for the 49ers will be going against a more tough defense than potentially they've ever faced?
I think when you talk about the 49ers, you're right. You point out their defense. The Cleveland Browns defense is underrated. They're arguably the number one defense in the NFL right now. And it's come with a couple of additions along their defensive line, along with a changing coordinator. They went to Jim Schwartz, who operates the wide nine system, and they've found ways to stop the run, which was a big issue last year. They were near the bottom of the league in run defense. They are now at the top of the league, just giving up 3.2 yards per carry. They don't give up much on the run. They're fourth in the NFL with 71 rushing yards allowed per game. But the big thing is their passing defense. They arguably have the best trio of cornerbacks in the NFL in Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward, and also Martin Emerson. Those guys play man coverage very well, and that's what allows Jim Schwartz to operate the scheme that he does because you're playing very well. They only allow 125 yards per game through the air. 125 yards. That's pretty insane. And they're
Crazy.
getting
Yeah.
pressure. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. They're opening up avenues for obviously for Myles Garrett, their best player on that defensive line. So when you have a multifaceted defense like the Browns do, it's going to be tough to defend them. Then again, we said the same thing about the Cowboys, a team who had the number one scoring defense coming into the week, and the 49ers put 42 points on them. I don't expect 42 points against the Browns. I think they are a better team, but like you said, the issue right now for Cleveland is their offense. Their offense, they don't have a starting quarterback. They don't have a starting running back, nor do they have their starting left guard. I do think Jerome Ford's a solid back. I think they have a fine rushing attack at the moment, but they're missing a lot of pieces and going up against their biggest challenge of the year. To me, the pathway for the 49ers to win is start out strong so that you force the Browns to play from behind, because that was the issue last week. And that's how the Ravens, were able to force turnovers defensively and get out to a 28-3 win. I think if you start out strong, that's going to be a big thing, as well as really riding on your defense. This might be a game where you might see, some of the fluctuations offensively that we really haven't seen all year. I think it's riding your defense. Play the field position game. It might be a little more of a conservative approach from Kyle Shanahan and playing the field position game, understanding that you trust your defense more, and then looking to flip that and getting, favorable situations where you can score points. I think that those two are the keys. And again, it's probably not what 49er fans want to hear, but this is a game that you should be able to win because of the way the rosters are constructed with Cleveland's offense and San Francisco's defense. But that defense is something a force to reckon with for sure.
Definitely. I heard someone say that the Browns defense is what the Cowboys defense wished that they were. Definitely more tough and physical, where maybe the Cowboys like to talk like they're tough and physical, but in actuality couldn't hang around. I think it'll be maybe like I can see it being a big Debo game because the interesting thing is that you were talking about their passing defense, but they also haven't allowed a touchdown to a running back so far this year. So I am interested. I think that Kyle Shanahan will probably try to get Christian McCaffrey the ball, but maybe get it in space. A lot of like quick throws to try to negate Myles Garrett. They were doing that against Dallas too. I think Purdy was the top of the league at getting the ball out the fastest last week. So I think they'll probably try to continue that strategy of getting the ball out quick, short, utilize the playmakers like Debo, Christian McCaffrey. I would say Kittle because he went off so much in that same style last week, but I do think Kittle has a knack for kind of going off in primetime games, and that this might not be a huge Kittle game. Also, he might be in blocking more because I know when before they put him on before they put him on Trent Williams, they were using George Kittle and Juszczyk to chip Micah Parsons, and I imagine they'll do the same thing against Myles Garrett. And I don't think Jim Schwartz will be as stupid to try to put him on on Trent Williams. I think he'll try to have him take advantage of Colton McKivitz. So for those reasons, I can see Kittle maybe not showing out passing wise. But that would be while we're talking about pathways to win, that would be a way to negate that Browns defense a little bit, is relying on your yak guys, having this be more of a maybe less of a crushing the narratives game and more of a we're relying on yak, we're relying on our playmakers today. What do you think?
No, I mean, I think you could definitely see that. I think, you might want to play the space game because if you look at it, you do match up differently. And I think the Browns are a little more sound defensively, especially against the run. The 49ers last week were able to exploit the Dallas Cowboys defensively on in certain ways, and the Cowboys still sold out against the run. I expect the Browns to be similar, but not necessarily sell out in that fashion, and try and find different ways to bracket guys deep down the field in coverage, which might mean just taking what the defense gives you overall, because the Browns have a solid front. Dalvin Tomlinson is a guy who they signed, and that's been the primary factor for them in the run game, really going from 4.6 yards per carry last year to 3.2. You sign him, you sign Zadarius Smith, that provides you another option opposite of Myles Garrett. So now you got two pass rushing threats where you kind of, you got to deal with both. And so I think the 49ers are going to be, they're going to face a challenge. But again, like we said in one way, with the 49ers facing a challenge, the Cleveland Browns are also facing a challenge in that they haven't seen an offense this explosive yet, a team that generates explosive plays a lot. And the issue with teams that generate explosive plays is you don't need that many explosive plays to score points. It's if you can just churn out a few explosives, that gets you scoring opportunities, and that's where the 49ers can separate themselves, whereas the Cleveland Browns don't know how many explosive plays that they're going to be able to generate without Deshaun Watson there, without Nick Chubb there, and also without the starting left guard.
I forgot about that. I saw that earlier when I was looking at the different injuries. Yeah, it's not a great time to be a Browns fan, but I mean it hasn't been for quite some time because boy did they make a terrible mistake, and I'm